However, just at that moment, Lin Jing angrily spoke up, asking the two, "Who are you to bully a little girl like this? Aren't you ashamed?" The bald man turned his head, looked at Lin Jing to the side, and then scoffed with contempt. "What's it to you? Mind your own business." Upon hearing this, Lin Jing immediately became furious and responded, "How is it not my business? I am this little girl's master. Her matters are my matters. I will deal with this." Perhaps due to his own past experiences, Lin Jing could not contain the rage in his heart when he saw someone bullying the little girl, and he immediately stood up, intending to defend her. The bald man glanced at Lin Jing, his lips curling into a cold smile, and then his cultivation at the golden core late stage burst forth from within him, pressing down on Lin Jing. Seeing this, Xiong also hurriedly stepped forward, standing beside Lin Jing, and revealed his own cultivation aura, confronting the bald man. The surrounding crowd saw this situation and immediately scattered, keeping their distance and watching the few individuals in conflict. Such scenes were not unheard of in Beihai City's Fong market, just uncommon. Although most of the time, the conflicting parties would not really come to blows, the combatants in this standoff were golden core cultivators. To be on the safe side, the crowd didn't dare get too close and kept their distance. The bald man saw that Xiong had also stepped forward, furrowed his brows, and then said to the two, "This little girl is. Those meddlers, they've now messed with the Moon Demon sect. They're finished." The Moon Demon sect is known for holding grudges, and it looks like it won't be long before they pay the price for their actions. Someone hurriedly spoke up in a low voice to the person next to them. "I heard there's an old ancestor in the Moon Demon sect with cultivation reaching the heavens." The Black Shark Gang was too arrogant and offended that old ancestor of the Moon Demon sect. It was only then that the old ancestor made a move and wiped out the Black Shark Gang with a single palm. Another person chimed in agreeing. Yeah, after the Black Shark Gang was wiped out, the Moon Demon sect quickly took over the territory that the Black Shark Gang had controlled. And nobody dares to say anything about it, right? I've also heard about this. Provoking the Moon Demon sect. These people are in for some bad luck. At this moment, there was a buzz of speculation within the crowd, and many felt sorry for Lin Jing and the others. In less than a moment, another person spoke up. "It's not necessarily so. Haven't you seen their high cultivation? Maybe they have a powerful faction backing them." After saying this, the person also received some support from others. Could be. Looking at how confident they appear, it seems likely they have a strong force behind them. Otherwise, why wouldn't they fear the people from the Moon Demon sect? The words of the people around were overheard by Lin Jing without missing a single one. Especially the part about the Black Shark Gang, which made Lin Jing curious about the Moon Demon sect. No one knew the truth about the Black Shark Gang's destruction more clearly than Lin Jing. Yet, the fact that the Moon Demon sect claimed responsibility for wiping out the Black Shark Gang puzzled Lin Jing. He didn't understand why the Moon Demon sect would dare to be so bold. Lin Jing seldom paid attention to the powers around Beihai City near the coastal waters. He had never heard of the Moon Demon sect. By doing this, weren't they afraid someone would come looking for trouble with them? Or was it simply a way for the Moon Demon sect to bolster their reputation? However, Lin Jing did not ponder for long before temporarily pausing his thoughts, because at that moment, the manager of Beihai City's Fong market arrived. The standoff between Xiong and the bald man had not lasted long before the manager of Beihai City's Fong market made an appearance. This demonstrated the efficient governance of Beihai City. Seeing the arrival of the market manager, the bald man who had been confronting Xiong immediately withdrew his aggressive aura. Xiong, seeing this, also withdrew his aura and circulated his cultivation technique to calm the surging spiritual power within him. The bald man then turned his head and saw that the market manager was still some distance away from the group. Seizing the moment, the bald man gave a chilling look towards Xiong and Lin Jing and said, "You really think our Moon Demon sect is so easy to provoke? Just you wait." As he finished speaking, the market manager had already approached. After the market manager arrived, he surveyed Lin Jing and the others, as well as the bald man and his companions. Then, with a frown, he said, "Fellow Taoists, this is the Fong market of Bihai City. If you have a disagreement, please leave Bihai City before resolving it on your own." After the market manager spoke, the bald man quickly replied, "Thank you for the reminder, manager. Rest assured, manager, we understand the rules of Bihai City and won't make things difficult for you. We just had a little friction, but both sides have already reconciled, and there are no issues now. We are sorry for bothering you, manager, for making this trip." In the face of the market manager, the bald man was all smiles, completely different from his attitude when facing Lin Jing and his group. Of course, this also had to do with the status of Bihai City. Rampaging in Bihai City was apparently something even the Moon Demon sect would not dare to do. Although they claimed to have an old ancestor with heavenly cultivation, the true state of affairs was probably known only to them. And the market manager maintained a stern face throughout, giving no friendly gesture to the bald man. The bald man was not angry, but simply made eye contact with his companions and then took his leave with the manager, departing from the area. After the bald man left, the crowd of onlookers dispersed. Soon after, the Fong Market supervisor turned his gaze toward Lin Jing and the other two, especially when sweeping over Lin Ju and Yi Yun. His gaze lingered on them for quite a while. It was at this moment that Yi Yun suddenly spoke up and said to the supervisor, "Uncle Yin, it's me, Yi Yun." Upon hearing Yi Yun's words, the supervisor, who was addressed as Uncle Lien by Yi Yun, was immediately startled, then looked at Yi Yun with disbelief and sized him up for a good while. Only after sizing him up did the supervisor speak. "I thought you looked familiar, but I didn't dare to confirm. I didn't expect it to really be you." After speaking, Uncle Lien then turned to Lin Ju beside him and sized her up carefully as well. "Since you are little Yun, then you must definitely be Lin Ju." Lin Ju nodded at Uncle Lien and said, "Uncle Lien, it's me. We haven't seen each other for so long. Uncle Lien, have you been transferred back to become the supervisor of the Fong Market?" Uncle Lien nodded and said, "Yes. I remember when I was transferred away from Bihai Island. Both of you were still young. Back then, Lin Ju's grandfather and little Yun's uncle were still around. But coming back this time, the two of them are no longer here." At this point, Uncle Lien couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia, his face showing a look of reminiscence. Both Yi Yun and Lin Ju were also reminded of their own relatives and couldn't help feeling a bit sad. Seeing both Yi Yun and Lin Ju's faces, Uncle Lien also began to feel sentimental and directly spoke up to break the sad atmosphere. "Let's not talk about that." After speaking, Uncle Lien looked at Yi Yun, sized him up carefully once again, and then somewhat surprised, he asked, "Yi Yun, what is your current cultivation level? I can't quite see through you." Yi Yun did not hide anything and directly said, "Uncle Lien, I am now at the 8th layer of the Golden Core stage." He then pointed to Lin Ju beside him and said, "Lin Ju also has reached the 6th layer of the Golden Core stage." It seemed that Yi Yun trusted Uncle Lien quite a bit. Upon hearing this, Uncle Lien was utterly shocked, and after a moment, he came to his senses, looked at Yi Yun in disbelief, then turned his head to look at Lin Ju before saying, "The two of you, you have truly shocked me. To have both reached the Golden Core stage at the same time, especially you, Yi Yun, you have already surpassed me." And this Uncle Lien, Lin Jing, could see at a glance that his current cultivation level was at the 7th layer of the Golden Core stage, one minor realm lower than Yi Yun. With both your spiritual root qualifications, to have cultivated to such levels, you must have had some extraordinary experiences. Yi Yun nodded, then went to Lin Jing's side and introduced him to Uncle Lien, saying, "Uncle Lien, let me introduce you. This is Lin Ju's brother, and also my master." Uncle Lien looked at Lin Jing, somewhat puzzled, because Lin Jing appeared to have a cultivation level of only the initial stage of the Golden Core, which was much lower than Yi Yun's. Yi Yun, seeing Uncle Lien's confusion, quickly leaned in and said softly, "My master is a nascent soul cultivator, but to avoid trouble, he has concealed his true cultivation level." After hearing this, Uncle Lien was immediately taken aback, never expecting that the unassuming Lin Jing was actually a nascent soul cultivator. Then, Uncle Lin quickly clasped his hands together and said to Lin Jing, "So, it turns out you are a senior at the nascent soul stage. My rudeness. I hope the senior will forgive me." Lin Jing then spoke. "You're too courteous, fellow Taoist. There's no need for such formalities." Then Yi Yin continued to say to Lin Jing, "This is Uncle Lin, who used to be a guard of the Fong market, and he was very close to both my uncle and Lin Ju's grandfather. It's just that Uncle Lin was transferred away from Bihai Island when we were very young to another place. It was not until today that we met again." At this point, Uncle Lin spoke up as well. "I only came back 2 years ago. Originally, after returning, I wanted to look for you guys, but ended up learning about the downfall of your uncle and others, and I couldn't find any traces of you two. Who would have thought that today, by such a coincidence, we would meet? And now seeing that you both are all right, I can rest assured." Having said that, Uncle Lin once again asked Yi Yin, "How did you two get into a conflict with people from the Moon Demon sect?" "Uncle Lin, here's what happened." Lin Ju then began to recount the incident that had just occurred. Soon after Lin Ju finished speaking, Uncle Lin looked at the little girl and couldn't help but sigh. The Moon Demon sect is not to be trifled with, and now that you've clashed with them, you must be very careful." Upon hearing this, Lin Jing's brows inevitably furrowed. "What's the background of the Moon Demon sect? Are they very powerful?" Uncle Lin nodded and said to Lin Jing, "The Moon Demon sect only rose after the annihilation of the Black Shark Gang. It is said that their sect hierarch is a demon cultivator from the Northern Devil region, with the cultivation of the nascent Soul Peak stage. When it really comes down to it, compared to some other forces, the Moon Demon sect doesn't actually count as very strong. But it's that sect hierarch of the Moon Demon sect." At this point, Uncle Lin's own brows furrowed even more. "Uncle Lin, what about the Moon Demon sect leader?" Lin Ju asked. Uncle Lin continued, "The leader of the Moon Demon sect is extremely sly and vindictive, punishing anyone who crosses the sect with relentless retaliation. And he never acts according to common sense. As a nascent soul cultivator, when facing enemies, he never engages in an upfront battle, but always uses surprise attacks and other despicable schemes. This manner of fighting causes headaches for other powers. Moreover, he possesses an extremely powerful magical treasure. So even when facing divine transformation cultivators stronger than himself, he can escape unharmed with the help of this treasure. It is precisely because he is so difficult to deal with that many powers choose to keep the Moon Demon sect at arm's length. And then there is that little girl. As Uncle Lin spoke, he looked toward the little girl at the stall. They were forced by the Moon Demon sect to take refuge in Bihai City. But I suppose they won't be able to hide for much longer. That little girl's father was ambushed by the Moon Demon sect, severely wounded, and has needed to continuously consume elixir medicines. It's been said to have been several years already. Probably he won't hold out much longer. When her father dies, I fear the little girl's situation will become even more difficult to endure. So that's how it is. She is truly pitiful." After hearing this, Lin Ju looked at the little girl and said with sympathy, "Doesn't she have any other family members?" Uncle Lin then spoke up. "Yes, she has an uncle. I remember he should be called Xiong, a burly man who has been constantly traveling far and wide to find a cure for her father's condition. It's just that I've made inquiries, and her father was injured by the Moon Demon sect leader, and the cure is only in the sect leader's possession. That uncle of hers is only at the early stage of the Golden Core. Wanting to find the cure is probably just wishful thinking." Upon hearing about Xiong, Lin Jing was suddenly startled and hastily questioned Uncle Lin. "What is the name of this little girl's father, do you know?" Uncle Lin nodded, then replied, "This little girl often sets up a stall in the Fong market, of course. I would take notice. This is definitely something I know. Her father is called Zhengqing." Zhengqing. Upon hearing this name, Lin Jing immediately turned his head to look at the little girl. Perhaps it was because of what had just occurred, the little girl still stood there, not yet having snapped back to reality. It wasn't until Lin Jing observed her for a good while that the little girl finally reacted, looking somewhat puzzled and timidly at Lin Jing. Lin Jing hadn't paid attention to the girl's appearance before, but now, upon closer inspection, he was struck by how much the little girl resembled Wei Zhengqing. Furthermore, not only did she bear a resemblance to Wei Zhengqing, but the little girl also seemed to share an extreme likeness with another person Lin Jing knew. That person was Ningyu. This discovery inevitably led Lin Jing to wonder. Could it be that Wei Zhengqing and Ningyu ended up together after all? Could this little girl be their child? Lin Jing was filled with doubt, because previously, when he was in Nanshan Immortal City, Ningyu mentioned that Wei Zhengqing and Xiong had gone out to make their own way in the world. Meanwhile, Ningyu, as the heir to the Ning family, stayed behind. This was perhaps the fate of the two individuals. Lin Jing knew that Ningyu would never abandon the Ning family, and there was also the factor of Luo's father. Although they had known each other for a long time, the likelihood of the two of them getting together was not high. But now, upon seeing the young girl, Lin Jing was beginning to doubt whether his judgment had been flawed. Perhaps they had gone through something and ended up together after all. After all, it had been a long time since Lin Jing had last seen the two of them, and if anything had happened in the interim, he was unaware. Moreover, what struck Lin Jing as even more noteworthy was that this little girl once said her mother was no longer alive. Lin Jing couldn't help but frown. Could it really be that something happened to Ningyu? Afterward, Lin Jing approached the little girl amidst the puzzled stares of Lin Ju and others. When he reached the front of the girl's stall, Lin Jing reached out his hand and called to her. Come here, I have some questions for you." Initially hesitant, the little girl looked at Lin Jing, bit her lip, made up her mind, and then walked toward Lin Jing. Although she was about 11 or 12 years old, she did not seem to have grown much. She was only about as tall as Lin Jing's waist. Being so close, they were barely able to have conversation. Therefore, Lin Jing crouched down to be at eye level with the little girl and asked, "What's your name?" Facing Lin Jing, the little girl seemed somewhat nervous, looking at Lin Jing with trepidation, but maybe seeing that Lin Jing had no ill intentions, she gradually calmed down. Replying to the senior, "My name is Wei Siyue," the little girl replied. "Wei Siyue," Lin Jing repeated, then questioned the little girl again. "Is your father named Wei Zhengqing?" The little girl looked at Lin Jing, hesitated for a moment, and then nodded. "Yes, senior." Lin Jing nodded in acknowledgement, then continued to inquire. "And your mother? What is her name?" The little girl then bowed her head, her voice tinged with sadness. "My mother's name was Luan Shuangyue, but she is no longer with us. It's not Ningyu. Could I have guessed wrong? But she does bear a resemblance to Ningyu. So what's going on?" Lin Jing thought to himself as he watched the little girl. Then, Lin Jing spoke to the little girl. "I'm a friend of your father's. Can you take me to see him?" "My father's friend?" Wei Siyue looked at Lin Jing with a mixture of confusion and caution. Lin Jing nodded and said, "Yes." As he spoke, Lin Jing ran his hand over a space ring, and suddenly an invisible flying sword appeared in his hand, the Ling Yin flawless sword. Then he said to Wei Siyue, "Previously, in the Nanshan market of the Nanming domain, we were neighbors with your father. This flying sword was originally a gift from your father to me. Also, your uncle Big Bear, Yin Xiong, we were quite well acquainted with him too." When Wei Siyue saw Lin Jing produce the Ling Yin flawless sword, her eyes lit up, and she excitedly turned to Lin Jing. "Senior, I know you. My father once mentioned you, and Uncle Yin Xiong has also talked about you. Your surname Lin, right?" Lin Jing smiled and nodded in response. Hearing the conversation, Lin Ju, Yin, and even Uncle Lien also came over. "Brother, you really know her father?" Even Uncle Lien looked incredulously at Lin Jing, not understanding how Lin Jing could know this pitiable father and daughter. Lin Jing nodded slightly and said, "That was quite some time ago." Having said that, Lin Jing turned to Wei Siyue. "Siyu, could you take me to see your father?" Wei Siyue nodded repeatedly. "No problem, senior." If my father sees you, he will probably be very happy. Lin Jing then addressed Wei Siyue. Just call me Uncle Lin, and no need to keep calling me Senior. All right, okay. I understand, Uncle Lin. After speaking, Wei Siyue turned to look at her stall, hesitating for a moment. A short while later, she turned back to Lin Jing and said, Uncle Lin, please wait a moment. I'll collect all these elixir medicines first. Lin Jing nodded, then said, All right, I'll help you. After speaking, Lin Jing helped collect all the items from Wei Siyue's stall. After everything was in order, Lin Jing stood up and said to Lin Ju and Yi Yun, I plan to first go see my friend with her. What about the two of you? Do you want to come with me? Or do you want to go see the place where you once lived? Lin Ju's grandfather's old rented courtyard in the slums had already been bought by Lin Ju a long time ago. It was to keep a memory alive, with the hope that one day they could return to take a look. Lin Ju pondered for a moment before speaking. Brother, you go ahead. I plan to first visit Grandpa's courtyard and then the places we used to stay when we were children. After we visited those places, we'll come and find you. Lin Jing nodded and said, Okay. Then, Lin Jing had Wei Siyue give Lin Ju their home address. Back at the entrance to Fang Market, the group said goodbye to Uncle Lin and then went their separate ways, leaving the market. The place where Wei Zhengqing lived was not in the slum area of Bihai City. It was in a relatively better neighborhood. After all, Wei Zhengqing was a golden core cultivator. Even with severe injuries, he wouldn't end up living in the slums. Moreover, Wei Zhengqing might have been seriously injured, but he still had Xiong by his side. After leaving Fang Market, Wei Siyue led Lin Jing through the main street and into an alley. After winding their way through the alleys with many twists and turns, they finally arrived in front of a courtyard. This type of house was quite common in Bihai City, meant specifically to be rented out for cultivators from outside to live in. However, this area was not that great. So, most of the residents here were foundation establishment cultivators and a small number of golden core cultivators who weren't doing very well. Wei Zhengqing, originally at the golden core late stage, was now spending a large amount of spirit stones daily to purchase elixir medicine to suppress his injuries due to being seriously injured. And under the weight of his injuries, his cultivation could almost be considered wasted, barely managing to stabilize his condition and prevent further deterioration. That's why, having no choice, he moved here with Wei Siyue. Otherwise, with his power at the golden core late stage, his treatment would likely have been much better than it currently was. Uncle Lin, we're living here now. Uncle Yin has gone out to look for elixir medicine for father. There should only be my father at home right now. Uncle Lin, please come in. As she spoke, Wei Siyue opened the front door, guiding Lin Jing toward the inside of the courtyard. This courtyard was not very large. Besides the main house in the middle, there was one wing room on each side. Beyond that, there was nothing else. The two entered the courtyard. Wei Siyue then closed the gate, and afterwards, she ran towards the main house in the middle of the courtyard. Daddy, you have a visitor. As she spoke, Wei Siyue hurried into the house through the open door. A visitor? What visitor? Cough, cough. A familiar voice, full of confusion, came from inside the main house. The voice was weak and, after speaking, even coughed twice. Just hearing this voice, Lin Jing knew that Wei Zhengqing's injuries were probably not simple. To have reduced a golden core cultivator to the state of a mortal on the brink of death was an indicator of how serious Wei Zhengqing's injuries were. Daddy, come out and see, and you'll know. All right. The voice carried a trace of helplessness. After that, the sounds of two people slowly walking out of the house could be heard. Lin Jing also walked toward the main house. As Lin Jing stepped onto the porch in front of the house, the two people inside had just arrived at the doorway. Then, Lin Jing lifted his head and locked eyes with the person coming out of the room. The person who came out was Wei Zhengqing. The current Wei Zhengqing, compared to before, was completely unrecognizable, almost like a different person. If not for the familiar face, Lin Jing would hardly believe that this middle-aged man with white temples and a face of vicissitudes was Wei Zhengqing. When Wei Zhengqing saw Lin Jing, he was first stunned, then shocked, and finally his face showed utter disbelief. Lin, brother. Wei Zhengqing seemed almost in disbelief, tentatively asking a question. Lin Jing nodded and then spoke. Wei, brother. It's hard to believe how much Wei, brother, has changed after all these years. It really is, Lin, brother. Wei Zhengqing was overwhelmed with excitement at this moment. I never expected I'd actually see you here, Brother Lin. It's truly a surprise. Brother Lin, please, come in quickly. With that, Wei Zhengqing invited Lin Jing into the house. Once inside, Lin Jing and Wei Zhengqing took their seats, while Wei Siwa busied herself preparing tea for the two. The house was simple, just ordinary home furnishings without any luxurious items. Lin Jing gave it a causal glance before turning his attention back to Wei Zhengqing. Brother Wei, I heard you were injured. What exactly happened? Wei Zhengqing sighed deeply and said, It's a long story, somewhat difficult to summarize. After saying this, Wei Zhengqing looked at Lin Jing and then spoke. Having not seen you for so long, I would never have imagined that even you, Brother Lin, have cultivated to the golden core stage. It's truly a joyous occasion. Wei Zhengqing seemed uninterested in discussing the topic of his injury, and after giving a response, he quickly steered the conversation elsewhere. Lin Jing, too, did not press further on the topic and instead replied, It's been all right. Since Brother Wei and the others left Nanshan Market, I've been favored by Elder Yu and found a job as an offering priest pill master at Yubela, and life has been quite decent, all the way until the demon race secret realm opened. Before that, I also met Ningyu. Ningyu said that after you left the Nanming domain, you went out to have some adventures. At this point, Lin Jing paused briefly, then looked at Wei Zhengqing and asked, By the way, Brother Wei, since you left the Nanming domain, have you seen Ningyu again? Ningyu. At the mention of this name, Wei Zhengqing was clearly startled. Not until a moment later did Wei Zhengqing speak again. After we left Nanshan Market, Yin Xiong and I helped Ningyu return to the Ning family, and after a fight with Ningyu's two cousins, we finally met the elder of the Ning family. Thus, we stayed with the Ning family until the family elder confirmed Ningyu's safety, and only then did we leave the Ning family and start our adventures outside the Nanming domain. Since that time, I haven't seen Ningyu again. Lin Jing seemed puzzled. You haven't seen each other at all? Wei Zhengqing nodded and said, Yes. However, I have inquired about the Ning family. I heard that when the Howling Sky Wolf clan attacked the Nanming domain, the Ning family was in Linxian City, which was quite far from the first battlefield. Also, the Ning family elder acted very decisively, promptly evacuating the entire Linxian City, so the Ning family's losses weren't great, and Ningyu was safe and sound. At that moment, Wei Siwa finished her tasks and came to serve tea to Lin Jing and Wei Zhengqing, filling their cups. Lin Jing then looked at Wei Siwa and said to Wei Zhengqing, Just now in the Fong market, I saw little Siwa and thought that you and Brother Ning had gotten together. Wei Zhengqing looked at Wei Siwa as if something occurred to him, and for a moment, he was lost in thought. It wasn't until a while later that Wei Zhengqing came back to his senses, his eyes revealing a trace of ineffable sorrow. Then, Wei Zhengqing spoke to Lin Jing. I'm sure Brother Lin is aware of the history between Ningyu and me. As for my feelings for her, I suppose Brother Lin can also guess a bit. Lin Jing looked at Wei Zhengqing and nodded. Wei Zhengqing's relationship with Ningyu was something Lin Jing had seen and speculated about. Wei Zhengqing then continued. Luo's father and I were very close friends. We were friends and competitors at the same time. This includes our fondness for Ningyu. However, matters of the heart require mutual devotion. Ningyu chose him, and I respect her choice, as well as wishing them well. Though, after Luo's father unfortunately fell between Ningyu and me, there could only ever be this distance. Should she encounter any difficulty, I would spare no effort to help her. But no matter what, the two of us could never be together. It's precisely because of this that I decided to leave the Nanming domain and seek adventures elsewhere. I truly do like Ningyu. It's just that we can't be together, and I most definitely cannot wrong my brother. So, After helping Ningyu return to the Ning family, I left the Nanming domain. Actually, the reason I left was largely because of Ningyu. If I didn't leave, I feared that one day I wouldn't be able to control myself. Going out should make things much better. Upon reaching this point in his story, Zhengqing lifted his head, lost in memories. After Xiong and I left the Nanming domain, we traversed the demonic monster sea and entered the western demon territories. We've been through many places, experienced many things, encountered some fortuitous adventures, and even significantly improved our cultivation, eventually breaking through to the golden core stage. At this point, Zhengqing lowered his head, gave a self-deprecating smile, and said, I'm not afraid of Lin Daoyu laughing at me, but the truth is, even many years after we left, I still couldn't let go of Ningyu. After finishing, Zhengqing looked towards Wei Siyue, then continued, until I met Siyu's mother. Siyu's mother bore an 80% resemblance to Ningyu. When I first saw her, I cough, cough, cough. At this point, Zhengqing couldn't hold back and started to cough violently. Traces of blood even spewed out with the cough from Zhengqing's mouth. Seeing this, Wei Siyue rushed over anxiously and said, Father, I cough. I'm fine. Seeing this, Lin Jing immediately stood up, went to Zhengqing's side, and then reached out to grab Zhengqing's wrist, sending spiritual power into his body to investigate. When Lin Jing sent his spiritual power into Zhengqing's body and discovered his condition, his brow furrowed deeply. Zhengqing was extremely weak, as frail as an old man on his deathbed. If it weren't for the slight spiritual power in his meridians that was continuously repairing his body, he probably would have already collapsed. Afterwards, Lin Jing controlled the spiritual power, following Zhengqing's meridians all the way to the Dantian. And when he directed the spiritual power into Zhengqing's Dantian, he finally found the root of the problem. Within Zhengqing's Dantian was a cluster of black demonic qi, which tightly enveloped Zhengqing's golden core, severing its connection from the body and preventing it from absorbing the external spiritual energy. Moreover, this demonic qi, while wrapping the golden core, also occasionally sent out strands of demonic qi wreaking havoc inside his Dantian, damaging Zhengqing's body. And after the destruction caused by the demonic qi, only the faint spiritual power could try to mend his body. But with the golden core enveloped and unable to cultivate spiritual power, Zhengqing's internal spiritual power consumed itself quickly like water without a source, hardly making any significant impact. Often before the injuries were healed, the spiritual power was already exhausted. At this time, with her face full of concern, Wei Siyue quickly said to Zhengqing, Father, come, let me help you inside. After saying this, Wei Siyue turned her head and said to Lin Jing, Uncle Lin, my father's injuries have flared up again, and only inside can he barely suppress them. Lin Jing nodded, and then helped Wei Siyue to support Zhengqing, heading to the bedroom inside the house. It wasn't until they arrived in the bedroom that Lin Jing finally understood why only there could Zhengqing's injuries be suppressed. Inside the bedroom was a spirit-gathering array, and this array was entirely built from spirit stones. The array was currently operating, and the spiritual energy within was so dense that it was almost becoming a mist. By staying within this array, even without much effort in circulating cultivation techniques, spiritual energy would automatically pour into the body. As Zhengqing's golden core was bound by demonic qi and couldn't generate a continuous flow of spiritual power, this was the only way to absorb spiritual power and heal his wounds. After entering the bedroom, Wei Siyue explained to Lin Jing, My father's golden core is sealed by the demonic qi. The spiritual power he can mobilize is minimal, and it's only in this array that he can absorb some spiritual energy into his body, thus counteracting the demonic qi and healing his injuries. Uncle Lin, please help me move my father into that array. Lin Jing nodded, and then supported Zhengqing into the array. Due to his injuries, Zhengqing was extremely weak, but once supported into the array, he He immediately sat cross-legged and began to circulate his cultivation technique, absorbing the spiritual energy from the array to heal himself. Lin Jing looked at Wei Zhengqing, then turned his head to ask Wei Siyue, "I heard that your father was injured by the moon demon sect leader. Is that right?" Wei Siyue nodded, her eyes undisguised with hatred. "It was that demon. Even my mother died at his hands." Clearly, the death of her mother had a significant impact on Wei Siyue. Although she didn't speak of it often, her hatred for the moon demon sect leader hadn't diminished at all. After hearing this, Lin Jing fell into deep thought. Moments later, Lin Jing spoke again. "Has anyone else tried to heal your father's wounds?" Wei Siyue nodded and said, "Indeed, we sought help before, and that person was even a nascent soul, true monarch, but it was of no use. The moon demon sect leader is extremely sinister and vicious, especially the spell he used on my father, which is particularly special and meant to torment those who oppose him. It's simply incurable." "So that's how it is," Lin Jing murmured, frowning. Afterwards, Lin Jing looked at Wei Zhengqing, who was cultivating to heal his injuries, and said outright, "Let me give it a try." Wei Siyue looked at Lin Jing, hope flickering in her eyes. "Uncle Lin, can you really cure my father?" Lin Jing said, "I'm not sure at this moment. I need to first assess your father's current condition before I can say." "Okay. Thank you so much, Uncle Lin." Wei Siyue nodded repeatedly. Then, Lin Jing stepped forward, came behind Wei Zhengqing, and placed his palm directly on his back. Next, Lin Jing activated the immortal 5 elements technique, and instantly a multitude of 5 elements spiritual power surged from his hand into Wei Zhengqing's body. Because Wei Zhengqing's body was extremely weak at that time, even after Lin Jing's spiritual power entered his body, it was still very careful, fearing to harm his already frail body. Thus, Lin Jing carefully controlled his own spiritual power, directing it towards Wei Zhengqing's dantian. After a while, the 5 elements spiritual power controlled by Lin Jing finally reached the vicinity of Wei Zhengqing's dantian. At this time, the demonic qi enveloping Wei Zhengqing's golden core was still rampant, wreaking havoc inside his dantian. And Wei Zhengqing, using the scarcely cultivated spiritual power, was struggling against it. It was at that moment that Lin Jing, controlling his 5 elements spiritual power, surged toward the demonic qi. Perhaps sensing the pressure of Lin Jing's 5 elements spiritual power, the demonic qi immediately became restless. As a result, more demonic qi surged out from the mass that enveloped Wei Zhengqing's golden core, chaotically rushing within his dantian. This influx of demonic qi caused Wei Zhengqing's already scant spiritual power to instantly falter. Seeing this, Lin Jing quickly diverted a portion of the 5 elements spiritual power towards the demonic qi, attempting to contain it and prevent further destruction in Wei Zhengqing's dantian. But the demonic qi was no simple matter. Upon encountering the incoming 5 elements spiritual power, it actively confronted it, standing off against Lin Jing's diverted 5 elements spiritual power. This situation caused Lin Jing to frown deeply. The demonic qi was indeed quite troublesome. The portion of 5 elements spiritual power that Lin Jing had divided was momentarily at a disadvantage. Thus, Lin Jing's mind moved, and he operated his cultivation technique, summoning more 5 elements spiritual power into Wei Zhengqing's body. After that, Lin Jing directed this spiritual force, several times stronger than the demonic qi, towards it, attempting to envelop the demonic qi. As the 5 elements spiritual power infused by Lin Jing increased, the demonic qi gradually weakened, and just when Lin Jing was about to completely envelop these demonic qi, the mass of demonic qi surrounding Wei Zhengqing's golden core suddenly fluctuated violently, and the dispersed demonic qi, as if summoned, instantly fled, returning to the mass of demonic qi around Wei Zhengqing's golden core and merged into it. After these demonic qi gathered, they suddenly contracted sharply, rushing towards Wei Zhengqing's golden core. It seemed to want to merge into the golden core. Under the stimulation of the demonic qi, Zhengqing suddenly turned pale, and with a poo sound, he spewed out a mouthful of fresh blood. Unexpectedly, not only were these demonic qi difficult to deal with, but they could also backfire. Seeing Zhengqing suddenly spitting blood, Wei Siyue immediately became panicked. "Daddy, what's wrong with you?" After speaking, Wei Siyue turned her head to ask Lin Jing. "Uncle Lin, what's happening to my dad?" Lin Jing knew the demonic qi was difficult to handle, and helping Zhengqing would likely not be a quick affair. Therefore, Lin Jing said to Wei Siyue, "Siyue, please step outside for a moment. I'll try to see if I can treat your father." Wei Siyue worriedly looked at Zhengqing, hesitating. At this time, Zhengqing spoke. "Siyue, you go out first. I'll be fine. You have to trust your Uncle Lin." Zhengqing's voice was extremely weak, but very determined. Wei Siyue looked at Zhengqing, then nodded her head and stepped outside, leaving only Lin Jing and Zhengqing there. After Wei Siyue left, Zhengqing asked Lin Jing, "Brother Lin, the cultivation you're showing now must be fake, right? Otherwise, it would be impossible to stir the demonic qi inside my body." Clearly, the examination Lin Jing had conducted earlier for Zhengqing had made him realize this. Lin Jing nodded and said, "Indeed, I am also a nascent soul, true monarch now. So I want to try and see if I can help you dispel that massive demonic qi, Brother Wei." Nascent soul, true monarch. Zhengqing was a bit dazed, then couldn't help but sigh. Who would have thought that after so many years, Brother Lin, you have become a nascent soul, true monarch? Lin Jing then spoke up and said, "It was also a stroke of luck, having experienced some things and encountered some adventures, that I managed to advance to nascent soul by chance." Zhengqing subsequently laughed and said, "Brother Lin, you are a man of great fortune. Being able to befriend you is also my good luck. I originally thought that the Moon Demon Sect leader was already an extremely formidable figure, but now it seems he is far from equaling Brother Lin." Having said this, Zhengqing turned his head, looked at Lin Jing, and asked, "Brother Lin, do you have any confidence in expelling the demonic qi from my body?" Lin Jing's brows furrowed slightly. He hesitated for a moment, then said, "I want to try another method to see if it's feasible. If it doesn't work, then we may have to find the Moon Demon Sect leader." Zhengqing said, "Brother Lin, feel free to try. If it doesn't work out, it's still fine. As for finding the Moon Demon Sect leader, that must absolutely not be done." "Why?" Lin Jing was somewhat puzzled. The Moon Demon Sect leader is already at the peak stage of nascent soul cultivation, extremely powerful. Moreover, in his possession, there is a Dao treasure grade item that is also incredibly formidable, capable of even battling an opponent at the divinity transformation stage. Brother Lin, as a person blessed with great fortune, it is best not to collide with him at this time. I believe it won't be too long before you surpass the Moon Demon Sect leader and leave him far behind." Lin Jing then frowned and said, "To surpass the Moon Demon Sect leader will likely be quite difficult. Even if I truly surpass him, I'm afraid that may only come to pass after who knows how many years. Brother Wei, with your current injuries, I'm afraid you simply won't last that long." Zhengqing then laughed and said, "If I die, then I die. It's all fate, no one to blame. Just that I have a request, and I hope Brother Lin will consider it." "Brother Wei, please speak," Lin Jing said with furrowed brows. "After my death, Siyu will be left alone. I hope, Brother Lin, that you could look after Siyu for the sake of our previous friendship. If possible, I wish for Brother Lin to take her as your disciple. If Siyu could follow you, then I can be at peace." Zhengqing's words were somewhat disheartening and also carried the implication of arranging affairs for after his demise. "Brother Wei," Lin Jing interrupted Zhengqing and directly said, "Actually, you needn't be discouraged. I'll find a way to heal you. Even if it doesn't work, I'll try to stabilize your condition for the time being. As for Siyu, she has already lost her mother, and now she only has you as a relative. If you leave, wouldn't she be even more heartbroken?" Can you bear to see her in sorrow every day? Indeed, I can help look after you, and I can also take her as my disciple, but some things I simply cannot give her. That is familial affection. You should think it over, Brother Wei. After Lin Jing had spoken, Wei Zhengqing pondered for some time. Then, after a long while, Wei Zhengqing relaxed into a smile and said, "Thank you, Brother Lin. I understand." Seeing that Wei Zhengqing had realized, Lin Jing spoke again. "Brother Wei, I will try to help you expel the demonic qi inside you. You must not lose heart, trust in me, and also believe in yourself." Wei Zhengqing nodded and said, "I understand. Brother Lin, you can start whenever you're ready." "I'm prepared." Lin Jing nodded and then extended his divine sense, probing Wei Zhengqing's body, carefully examining the mass of demonic qi. From his previous attempt, Lin Jing had understood. It was simply impossible to expel that mass of demonic qi forcefully using spiritual power. Since spiritual power was ineffective, the only option was to use another method. And Lin Jing, indeed, had thought of another special method. That was to use the 5 elements divine art to deal with that troublesome mass of demonic qi. Actually, before this, Lin Jing didn't really want to use the 5 elements divine art, because the 5 elements divine art is a class of spells primarily for attack, not really intended for healing wounds. Lin Jing wanted to use the 5 elements divine art to fight poison with poison, trying to expel the demonic qi from Wei Zhengqing's body with it. If he used the 5 elements divine art, the process could even be fraught with peril. But given Wei Zhengqing's current state, with his condition deteriorating day by day, it wouldn't be good to delay further. Without the 5 elements divine art, there likely wouldn't be any way to counter the demonic qi. The only option now was to take a risk and try the 5 elements divine art. Next, Lin Jing said to Wei Zhengqing, "Brother Wei, what comes next may be very painful, so please bear with it when the time comes." Wei Zhengqing nodded and said, "Don't worry, I'm ready. Brother Lin, please proceed." Lin Jing nodded and then stimulated the 5 elements divine art. Immediately a stream of Wu Tsai light appeared in his hand. Following that, Lin Jing waved his hand, and that stream of Wu Tsai light plunged directly into Wei Zhengqing's body. As the Wu Tsai light entered Wei Zhengqing's body, Lin Jing simultaneously extended his divine sense, following the light into Wei Zhengqing's interior. Wei Zhengqing also placed great trust in Lin Jing. He did not put up any defenses, allowing the 5 elements' power and Lin Jing's divine sense to probe in. In the current situation, if Lin Jing harbored the slightest ill intention or mishandled his control, he could instantly kill Wei Zhengqing on the spot. Therefore, throughout the whole process, Lin Jing had to be extremely cautious. After the Wu Tsai light entered Wei Zhengqing's body, Lin Jing carefully directed it slowly towards Wei Zhengqing's dantian. In less than a quarter of an hour, the Wu Tsai light reached Wei Zhengqing's dantian. Next, Lin Jing controlled the Wu Tsai light, slowly moving it toward Wei Zhengqing's golden core at the dantian. Perhaps sensing a threat, the stream of demonic qi surged violently as the Wu Tsai light approached. Lin Jing quickly stopped and began to observe carefully. This was Wei Zhengqing's dantian, which required extreme caution. There was absolutely no room for carelessness. After observing for a while and seeing that the demonic qi, aside from churning, seemed to have no other actions, and Wei Zhengqing felt no discomfort at the moment. So, Lin Jing bravely made his move again, cautiously approaching the demonic qi. However, as the Wu Tsai light approached once more, the demonic qi retreated as if meeting a bane, crazily surging backward. Seeing this, Lin Jing's heart filled with joy. It seemed that using the 5 elements divine art was indeed effective. Lin Jing even remembered the heavenly desired demon monarch, who had suffered greatly from the 5 elements divine art in the past, and in the end died a terrible death under its influence. Perhaps the 5 elements divine art had a restraining effect on demonic path techniques, which might be why it was so effective. Afterward, Lin Jing continued to control the Wu Tsai light, moving it closer to Wei Zhengqing's golden core. As the Wu Tsai light moved steadily closer, it was just about to touch the golden core and the demonic qi when the black demonic qi underwent another transformation. Suddenly, the black demonic qi stopped surging, then condensed into a mass, and in a moment, the whole mass transformed into black demonic patterns, which attached themselves to the surface of the golden core. At that moment, Wei Zhengqing's golden core finally revealed itself. However, the golden core was firmly bound by the black demonic patterns, dim and void of light, unable to absorb any spiritual power from the outside. Seeing these patterns, Lin Jing's brow furrowed slightly. This strange demonic pattern could bind a cultivator's golden core, something Lin Jing had never seen before, nor had he ever heard of them. The more unfamiliar it was, the less rash one should be in dealing with it. Lin Jing then extended his divine sense and carefully observed the black demonic pattern. After examining it, Lin Jing hesitated for a moment. Then, he mobilized the Wu Tsai light and approached the black demonic pattern for a test. When the Wu Tsai light just approached the pattern, the black demonic pattern lit up instantly and counterattacked, repelling the Wu Tsai light. However, even though the black demonic pattern repelled the Wu Tsai light, something else happened simultaneously. At the instant when the demonic pattern repelled the Wu Tsai light, the black pattern that had been binding Wei Zhengqing's golden core suddenly lost control over it. And in that instant, Wei Zhengqing's golden core burst into light, even rotating slightly. That slight rotation caused the previously weak spiritual power within Wei Zhengqing to substantially increase instantaneously. This method was effective. Heartened, Lin Jing immediately had an idea. Next, Lin Jing once again controlled the Wu Tsai light for a second exploration. Just as before, as the Wu Tsai light approached, the black demonic pattern's counterattack surged forth. And in that moment, Wei Zhengqing's golden core again showed activity. Lin Jing then continued using the Wu Tsai light to press toward Wei Zhengqing's golden core. This time, because Lin Jing did not yield, the Wu Tsai light was not repelled by the black demonic pattern, and they stood in opposition to each other. During the standoff, Wei Zhengqing's golden core spun wildly, countless amounts of spiritual power surging from within the Dantian. As the spiritual power emerged, it began healing Wei Zhengqing's injuries. In no time at all, Wei Zhengqing's injuries had recovered by 20%. Just then, as Lin Jing's Wu Tsai light gradually exhausted itself in the stalemate, it lost its effectiveness. After the Wu Tsai radiance had completely dissipated, the black demonic pattern once again came into effect, once again binding Wei Zhengqing's golden core. Furthermore, without the threat of the Wu Tsai radiance, the black demonic pattern dispersed again, turning into demonic qi and once more enveloping Wei Zhengqing's golden core. After that, from the demonic qi encasing the golden core, more demonic qi dispersed and roamed within Wei Zhengqing's Dantian, continuously wreaking havoc. Wei Zhengqing was clearly very aware of the situation inside his own body. He also knew that during the confrontation just now, Lin Jing had failed, leaving Wei Zhengqing feeling somewhat disheartened. Subsequently, Wei Zhengqing spoke to Lin Jing. "Brother Lin, if it's not possible, then let it be." Having said that, Wei Zhengqing also gave Lin Jing an explanation. "The demonic qi that binds my golden core is derived from the cultivation of demonic techniques, which are extremely peculiar and well-known throughout the northern devil region, not something that could be easily dispelled." Lin Jing then replied, "Brother Wei, hold on. Just now was merely a probe. Next, I'll start to really expel the demonic qi." Having spoken, Lin Jing no longer paid attention to Wei Zhengqing. Instead, he directly stimulated the 5 elements divine art, once again condensing a beam of Wu Tsai radiance. After one beam, Lin Jing did not control it to directly enter Wei Zhengqing's body, but continued to condense. Like this, the second beam, the third beam, the fourth beam. Only after condensing the 8th beam of Wu Tsai radiance did Lin Jing stop condensing. Originally, Lin Jing wanted to condense a few more beams, but considering they were inside Wei Zhengqing's body, too many might be hard to control. Lin Jing thus refrained from continuing to condense. However, Lin Jing believed that these 8 beams of Wu Tsai radiance would be sufficient to suppress the black demonic pattern. This time, Lin Jing was determined to find a way to eradicate the black demonic pattern. After that, Lin Jing controlled the 8 beams of Wu Tsai radiance, drawing near to Wei Zhengqing's Dantian. This time, Lin Jing did not probe again, but directly manipulated the 8 beams of Wu Tsai radiance to completely surround Wei Zhengqing's golden core. It was then that due to the proximity of the Wu Tsai radiance, the demonic qi once again transformed into the black demonic pattern. And at this moment, Lin Jing simultaneously directed the 8 beams of Wu Tsai radiance towards the black demonic pattern. Under the simultaneous effect of the 8 beams of Wu Tsai radiance, the resistance of the black demonic pattern gradually weakened until it stopped. The entire black demonic pattern became motionless, and Wei Zhengqing's golden core, no longer restricted, began to operate frantically once again. At this point, Lin Jing had already controlled the Wu Tsai radiance to approach the black demonic pattern, attempting to break it. Lin Jing maneuvered the Wu Tsai radiance towards the black demonic pattern, launching an attack on it. However, what Lin Jing did not expect was that although the black demonic pattern had lost its ability to resist, it remained completely immobile in the face of the assault from the Wu Tsai radiance. Lin Jing paused for a moment, then probed again. However, after several attempts, Lin Jing found that the Wu Tsai radiance was utterly ineffective against the black demonic pattern. Lin Jing couldn't help frowning. Then, he paused and closely observed the black demonic pattern. This black demonic pattern, under the pressure of the Wu Tsai radiance, became dull and lackluster, but it was like a terrapin drawing in its shell the entire pattern extremely hard, with no way to start. After observing, Lin Jing moved again. All one could see was Lin Jing controlling a beam of Wu Tsai radiance, continuing to approach the black demonic pattern until it adhered to the pattern. Because it was close to Wei Zhengqing's golden core, Lin Jing was extremely careful and didn't dare to be negligent at all. As soon as the Wu Tsai radiance approached the black demonic pattern, Lin Jing immediately controlled it to disperse, turning into the 5 elements power, trying to pour into the black demonic pattern. Yet, even so, the 5 elements power was still repelled, never able to penetrate it. This first method had thus failed. Lin Jing furrowed his brows slightly, and, after contemplating for a moment, he manipulated the second stream of Wu Tsai radiance, continuing to approach the black demonic pattern. This second stream of Wu Tsai radiance, upon nearing the demonic pattern, slowly turned into fine threads under Lin Jing's control and coiled around the black demonic pattern. Afterward, Lin Jing used the 5 elements power, attempting to erode the black demonic pattern. However, just like the first time, those black demonic patterns remained completely unmoved. Lin Jing did not give up and tried several more times in succession, until all 8 streams of Wu Tsai radiance were fully expended. Yet in the end, he discovered that no matter what method he used, Lin Jing was unable to destroy those black demonic patterns. Furthermore, once Lin Jing had exhausted the Wu Tsai radiance, the black demonic patterns transformed back into demonic qi and continued wreaking havoc within Wei Zhengqing's Dantian. Ultimately, Lin Jing had to give up. It seemed that to resolve those black demonic patterns, he had to seek out the Moon Demon Sect leader. This series of experiments, although Lin Jing had not dealt with the mass of demonic qi, during the time he suppressed the demonic qi, Wei Zhengqing was able to take the opportunity to cultivate and repair his injured and weakened body. Lin Jing's experiments just now had consumed a significant amount of time, and while Lin Jing was suppressing the black demonic patterns, Wei Zhengqing also took the opportunity to constantly cultivate, recovering from his injuries. By now, Wei Zhengqing's injuries had recovered by 40 to 50%, and his complexion was also much better than before. When Lin Jing failed to drive away the black demonic pattern and withdrew his divine sense, Zhengqing likewise stopped meditating and opened his eyes. Then Lin Jing spoke up, saying to Zhengqing, "Brother Wei, I currently have no means to help you expel the demonic qi in your body." Zhengqing smiled and said, "No matter. During the time Brother Lin suppressed the demonic qi, I was able to utilize the spiritual power within my golden core to heal a good portion of my bodily injuries. I feel much better than before now, thanks to Brother Lin." Lin Jing then spoke again. "The injuries on your body, Brother Wei, aren't actually a big problem. I can suppress that demonic qi at any time, allowing you to use your golden core and recover from the injuries. However, this is not a long-term solution. Moreover, with the demonic qi present, you can't cultivate, so one way or another, the demonic qi must be expelled." Zhengqing fell silent for a moment and then said, "I understand, but to expel the demonic qi, we must confront the Moon Demon Sect leader. That Moon Demon Sect leader is highly skilled in cultivation and also has a magical treasure at his side. The average nascent soul cultivator is simply no match for him. Even you, Lin Daoyu, might not suffice. To deal with him, at least a divine transformation cultivator would be needed." Upon hearing this, Lin Jing couldn't help but be puzzled. What exactly is this magical treasure of the Moon Demon Sect leader that I've heard you mention so many times? It's that powerful. Zhengqing then explained. His magical treasure is called the Great Dream Ancient Mirror. It is an extremely formidable magical treasure, capable of ensnaring a cultivator in a dream if reflected upon, leaving them at the mercy of others. It can be said that a nascent soul cultivator reflected by this ancient mirror will instantly become incapacitated completely at the other's command. Even a divinity transformation cultivator, upon reflection, would experience a momentary lapse of consciousness. It is precisely because of this great dream ancient mirror that the Moon Demon Sect leader is so arrogant. Moreover, several of his escapes from the hands of divine transformation cultivators have been thanks to this mirror. Great dream ancient mirror, Lin Jing frowned. Then, Lin Jing continued to ask, "Where did this mirror come from?" Zhengqing continued. "This great dream ancient mirror was discovered simultaneously by two factions within a forbidden area in the northern Devil region. However, the cultivators from those factions were both heavily wounded in the struggle for the mirror, and ultimately, it was the Moon Demon Sect leader who reaped the benefits and obtained this treasure. It was also because he acquired this treasure that the Moon Demon Sect leader, fearing a joint pursuit by those factions, fled to this southern outer sea." After listening, Lin Jing pondered for a moment and then looked at Zhengqing, saying, "That being said, this great dream ancient mirror hasn't been in the hands of the Moon Demon Sect leader for long. So if I'm not mistaken, he probably hasn't completely mastered it yet." Zhengqing nodded his head and then said, "That's right. The great dream ancient mirror. Even after the Moon Demon Sect leader acquired it, he couldn't completely refine it. He could only barely manipulate it through a special method, and controlling it is also extremely cumbersome. If not for that, I estimate he would even have the power to fight against a divine transformation cultivator." Lin Jing gave a slight nod, then looked at Zhengqing with a puzzled expression and asked, "These should be the secrets of the Moon Demon Sect, Brother Wei. How do you come to know of them?" Zhengqing suddenly fell silent, his eyes revealing a trace of sorrow. And after a moment, he spoke. "Siyu's mother was originally the holy maiden of the Moon Demon Sect. Everything I know was told to me by her." Upon hearing this, Lin Jing also fell silent. A moment later, Lin Jing spoke again, saying to Zhengqing, "Brother Wei, let's not talk about the Moon Demon Sect leader for now. The most important thing is to heal your injuries first. Later, I will help you suppress the demonic qi, and then you take that opportunity to heal your injuries." Zhengqing nodded at his words. Good. In that case, I'll be troubling Brother Lin." Lin Jing didn't say anything more, but took out a top-grade, life-dissolving elixir from his space ring and handed it to Zhengqing. Zhengqing's affliction had accumulated over many years, and it would be difficult to heal relying on himself alone. Only with the combination of the life-dissolving elixir, which could rapidly heal wounds, could Zhengqing's internal injuries be completely restored. Zhengqing looked at the life-dissolving elixir in Lin Jing's hand and hesitated for a while, not reaching out to take it directly. A top-grade, life-dissolving elixir. This elixir medicine is not cheap. Lin Jing then spoke, smiling. Could it be that Brother Wei has forgotten that I am an alchemist myself? And to me, this life-dissolving elixir is just so. Lin Jing's tone was very casual. To him now, the life-dissolving elixir indeed was insignificant. But for Zhengqing, it was extremely valuable, especially during his time of grievous injuries, which required a significant amount of spirit stones every day to maintain the formation in order to stabilize his condition and prevent it from worsening. This top-grade, life-dissolving elixir was naturally invaluable to him. Hearing this, Zhengqing couldn't help but let out a wry laugh. I almost forgot about that. Before I left back then, Brother Lin, you were already a first-grade alchemist. I also heard from Ningyu that your alchemy Dao talent is extremely extraordinary, even stronger than hers. After so many years without seeing each other, Brother Lin, you must have become a fourth-grade alchemist by now. Lin Jing did not hide anything and replied directly. As of now, I have advanced to the 5th grade. 5th grade alchemist. Zhengqing's pupil shuddered as he abruptly turned his head, staring incredulously at Lin Jing. Seeing Zhengqing looking over, Lin Jing nodded lightly. Seeing Lin Jing confirm with a nod, Zhengqing couldn't help but exclaim, Brother Lin's alchemy Dao talent is indeed extraordinary. Back when we were in Anshan Market, the most powerful alchemist, there was only a 4th-grade alchemist from an alchemy Dao family. Even the alchemists from the 3 great sects were only at the 5th grade, yet those people were already considered unreachable beings. As he said this, Zhengqing looked at Lin Jing with genuine admiration. Decades have gone by, and I never expected Brother Lin to become a 5th-grade alchemist. Plus, with your nascent soul stage cultivation, if you were to return to Nanming Domain now, presumably the 3 great sects would personally welcome you and treat you as an esteemed guest. Upon hearing this, Lin Jing remained silent for a while before speaking. Even with nascent soul cultivation, what of it? During the attack of the Howling Sky Wolf clan, I even witnessed a nascent soul cultivator die at the hands of a divine transformation cultivator from the Howling Sky Wolf clan. He couldn't even escape. Nanming Domain is too small, and we are too weak. Lin Jing's words made Zhengqing fall silent as well. He couldn't help but think of Siyu's mother. If he had not been so weak, she wouldn't have died at the hands of the Moon Demon sect leader, and he wouldn't have been powerless to help. At this moment, Lin Jing also felt the mood was not right. So he quickly said, Forget about it. Let's not think about it. Let me help you heal. Zhengqing nodded silently. After Zhengqing was ready, Lin Jing activated the 5 elements divine art, once again condensing several streaks of Wu Tsai light, which he sent into Zhengqing's body. Just like before, Lin Jing controlled the Wu Tsai light to approach the demonic qi, and when it turned into a black demonic pattern, Lin Jing then controlled the Wu Tsai light to follow. After that, the black demonic pattern could not withstand the Wu Tsai light and once more fell silent. Zhengqing's golden core, freed from constraint, began to revolve again. It was then that Zhengqing swallowed the top-grade, life-dissolving elixir in his hand and began to meditate. This time, treating Zhengqing's injuries took an entire day. After one day had passed, with the help of Lin Jing, Zhengqing's injuries were completely healed. He looked like a different person altogether. Compared to the Zhengqing of yesterday, he was practically a new man. Once the healing was completed, Lin Jing withdrew the Wu Tsai light from Zhengqing's body. After Lin Jing withdrew, the black demonic pattern revived once again, morphing back into demonic qi. However, this time, Even though Wei Zhengqing's golden core was once again restricted, there was still a considerable amount of pure spiritual power remaining in his body. While the demonic qi continued to wreak havoc within his dantian, the protection from this spiritual power meant that Wei Zhengqing could remain unharmed, at least for the time being. Afterward, Wei Zhengqing stood up, clasped his fist toward Lin Jing, and said, "Many thanks, Brother Lin. If not for Brother Lin, I fear it would have been very difficult for me to recover to my current state." At this moment, Wei Zhengqing had recovered from all his injuries. Although the demonic qi hadn't been expelled, his entire condition had undergone an earth-shattering change. The current Wei Zhengqing was not much different from before he was injured. Lin Jing waved his hand and said, "Brother Wei, you're too kind." Wei Zhengqing shook his head and earnestly said, "To you, Brother Lin, what you've done may not seem much, but for me, to be free of the torment of the demonic qi, it really feels like being reborn." Lin Jing then spoke to comfort Wei Zhengqing and said to him, "Brother Wei, let's go outside first. Xiong must still be waiting outside. She's probably getting anxious." After hearing this, Wei Zhengqing nodded and said, "Good." Having said that, the two of them left the bedroom and walked outside. When the two came outside, Wei Xiong was waiting. Not only Wei Xiong, but also Lin Ju and Yi Yun, as well as the little sparrow on Lin Ju's shoulder. Seeing the two men approaching, Wei Xiong hurriedly ran over. After Wei Xiong came over, seeing Wei Zhengqing's ruddy complexion, not showing any signs of injury, and his cultivation aura had also returned to the state before he was injured, Wei Xiong was immediately thrilled, her eyes reddening. She looked up at Wei Zhengqing and asked, "Daddy, are you all better now?" Wei Zhengqing stepped forward, looked down at Wei Xiong, stroked her head, and then said, "Not completely better, but thanks to your Uncle Lin's help, I'm much better now. You've really had a hard time these years." Wei Xiong kept shaking her head. "As long as you're all right, Daddy, I don't mind the hardship." After speaking, Wei Xiong, with a worried expression on her face, quietly asked Wei Zhengqing, "Daddy, can't your injury be healed?" Wei Zhengqing, with a smile on his face, crouched down, stroked Wei Xiong's head, looking at her affectionately, and comforted her softly. "Don't worry, Xiong. I can definitely heal this injury. See, it's not bothering me anymore, right?" Wei Zhengqing didn't tell Wei Xiong the whole truth. "That's really wonderful," Wei Xiong exclaimed excitedly. At that moment, Lin Ju and Yan also came over. "Brother, Master," Lin Jing nodded and then looked at the two of them, asking, "Have the two of you finished your business?" The two nodded, and then Lin Ju said, "Yes, it's all finished. So, can we go to the Naming domain now?" Lin Jing thought for a moment and said to them, "Let's wait a little longer. There's no rush." After that, Lin Jing turned his head, looked at Wei Zhengqing, and asked, "Brother Wei, we plan to travel to the Naming domain. Do you have any plans to return to the Naming domain?" After reassuring Wei Xiong, Wei Zhengqing stood up, hesitated for a moment, and then said, "It's true that I haven't returned to the Naming domain for a long time. However, as Brother Lin is aware, with my current condition, it's not suitable for me to return to the Naming domain." Wei Zhengqing was right. His current condition indeed made it unsuitable for him to return to the Naming domain. Because, even in Beihai City, where the spiritual energy was extremely rich, he had to use a spirit gathering array, supported by a large number of spirit stones, to create a place where he could absorb spiritual power. In comparison to Beihai City, the spiritual energy in the Nanming domain was even thinner. If Wei Zhengqing wanted to use the same method to delay his injuries, it would cost him a much greater price to create a similar place there. Such an option was inappropriate. That was why Wei Zhengqing couldn't return. Of course, there was actually another way. That would be to have Lin Jing always by his side. With Lin Jing there, he could intervene at any time, help suppress the demonic qi, and restore his condition. However, doing so would be quite troublesome for Lin Jing, and Wei Zhengqing didn't want to impose too much on Lin Jing, which is why he was reluctant to return to the Naming domain. Afterward, Wei Zhengqing continued, "Brother Lin, we rarely meet, and now that I've recovered, there won't be any problems for a short while. Why don't we take this opportunity to gather and have a few drinks? After we've met, it won't be too late for you, Brother Lin, to return to the Nanming domain." Having finished speaking, Wei Zhengqing added with a smile, "Lin brothers' cooking skills are unparalleled. I had a meal back then, and even after so long, I find myself often missing it." On hearing this, Lin Jing also smiled and nodded, saying, "Of course, no problem. We indeed haven't seen each other for many years, and now is as good a time as any to catch up." As Lin Jing spoke, it seemed as if he suddenly remembered something and quickly asked Wei Zhengqing, "By the way, where's Big Bear Yin Xiong? I heard he went to find medicine for you. When will he return? We definitely can't miss him at this reunion." Wei Zhengqing nodded, saying, "Yes, he left 3 days ago to help find medicine for me. I've been able to hang on till now, largely thanks to his care." Saying this, Wei Zhengqing thought for a moment, then continued, "Taking today into account, he has been out for quite some time. If nothing unexpected has happened, he should be back soon. Even if something has delayed him on the road, he will be back by tomorrow at the latest. Lin brother, you can have a look around Bihai City in the meantime, and wait for Yin Xiong to return." Lin Jing nodded in agreement, answering, "Okay, then I'll wait here for Yin Xiong's return. As for these 2 days, we can tour around together." In the following 2 days, Lin Jing, Little Sparrow, Wei Zhengqing, and his daughter toured the whole of Bihai City. They visited Seven Seas Hall, enjoyed a feast at Yingjian residence, and even went to the plaza where the cross-realm transmission formation was located and watched for quite some time. The establishment of the cross-realm transmission formation made Bihai City even livelier, and naturally many people yearned for it. Even those who couldn't afford to use it would visit the plaza where the formation was located each day. 100 superior grade spirit stones per person. The cost of using the cross-realm transmission formation was not cheap, but even at such a high price, there were still many who used it every day, because each transmission consumed a vast amount of resources. Therefore, the formation would only activate for groups of at least 10 people at a time. Of course, there are exceptions. Some people could use it alone, such as Ji Xie and Ji Ling. When Lin Jing and the others arrived at the plaza, they just saw Ji Xie leading Ji Ling, using the formation to teleport to the Nanming domain. At that moment, the plaza was crowded and chaotic, and Ji Xie did not notice them. However, Wei Xiyue was very curious about the identities of these two people. Lin Ju then explained their identities to Wei Xiyue. Wei Xiyue had an epiphany when Lin Ju mentioned that Lin Jing matched Ji Xie in alchemy, and won against her who was touted as the #1 alchemy genius of a Xinglua elixir sect. Wei Xiyue looked at Lin Jing with admiration in her eyes, astonished beyond measure. Regularly dealing with elixir medicine, how could she not understand what that meant? She had never expected her Uncle Lin to be so formidable. These past 2 days, the happiest of all was undoubtedly Wei Xiyue. Ever since Wei Zhengqing was injured, Wei Xiyue had grown from an oblivious little girl into someone who was quickly maturing, becoming sensible and well-behaved. However, in the process of growing up, she also lost the joy of being a child, especially later on, when Wei Zhengqing's injury worsened and he became unable to take care of her. And Yin Xiong was busy all day earning spirit stones and searching for the elixir medicine needed for Wei Zhengqing's treatment. The entire burden of living fell onto Wei Xiyue. Thankfully, Wei Xiyue was quite understanding. While she took care of Wei Zhengqing, she also rented a booth in the Fang market to engage in the business of selling elixir medicines. At the time, Wei Xiyue was not even 10 years old yet. For a little girl under 10 years of age, this was far from a simple task. However, fortunately, Wei Xiyue persevered and even managed to see some gains. During these 2 days, they took Wei Xiyue around Bihai City, visiting all the places she had wanted to go but had been afraid to visit before. And Lin Jing even purchased some magical treasures at the Seven Seas Hall to give to Wei Xiyue. That made Wei Xiyue quite happy for a while. However, there was one thing that continually lingered in everyone's minds. That was the fact that Xiong had still not returned. Logically, after so many days, even with delays on the road, Xiong ought to have returned by now. Yet Xiong had not come back, which kept Wei Zhengqing perpetually restless. Until this day, when the group returned, they met Uncle Lin, who had come for a visit. Uncle Lin, upon seeing them, told them the unwelcome news. And that was, Xiong had been captured by the people of the Moon Demon sect and was on Black Shing Island.